Yep. Welcome. My name is Dustin Kerb. I am SBCC staff and will be the designated hearing officer today, and I will be conducting this hearing. I now call to order this hearing regarding the proposed changes to WAC 51-51 International Residential Code regarding changes to the provisions for family home childcare. I would like to advise everyone that this hearing is being recorded and the audio file will become part of the official rulemaking file. For the record, this hearing is being held on January 12th, 2024, beginning at 10:19 a.m. at 1500 Jefferson Street, Olympia, Washington, with Zoom and teleconference options. The purpose of this hearing is to receive public comments on proposed changes to WAC 5151 International Residential Code regarding changes to the provisions for family home childcare. This hearing is being conducted in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, RCW 42.30, and the Administrative Procedures Act, RCW 34.05. Legal notice of this hearing was filed with the Washington State Code Revisor on October 3rd, 2023. The Washington State Register number for this filing is WSR 23-23-038. Notice of this hearing was also posted on the SBCC website at sbcc.wa.gov. This hearing is being held to consider testimony on the proposed CR 102. At this time, I will briefly explain the proposed changes. In 2021, legislation was passed that allowed the Department of Children, Youth, and Family to issue waivers when licensing family home child care uses. These waivers allow for an increase in capacity in these uses. The current limit set by the building code is 12 children in a family home child care use. The proposed changes intend to allow for a maximum of 16 children in a family home child care use, with more stringent requirements needed for the increase from 12 to 16. We will now hear oral testimony regarding the proposed changes. For the record, please identify yourself and whom you represent, if any. Please speak clearly so we can get a good recording of your testimony. In order to ensure that everyone has a chance to make comments in a timely manner, please limit your comments to 5 minutes. We did receive some testimony sign-up sheets prior to this meeting. I will go through that list first. And then if you are present here and wish to make testimony, please utilize the raise hand function and we will allow you to talk in the order that we receive those raised hands. At this time, we will begin testimony. And first on our list is Anjali Grant. Anjali, you should now be able to unmute.
Okay. My name is Anjali Grant. I'm a Seattle-based architect with experience in family and center-based facilities. There's an interactive map on a website called childcaredeserts.org, developed in part by a team of researchers at the University of Minnesota. The map leans red for scarcity of childcare relative to the number of children in the household, and blue for adequate supply. There's a slider on the map so that you can also look at poverty. We do have pockets of blue in Washington State where we have adequate supply of childcare, primarily in urban areas, though it varies neighborhood by neighborhood. In our rural areas, there is a sea of red. Huge sections of the state have virtually no access. In 2021, I did some feasibility work with a nonprofit in Ferry County, which is in the north central area of the state. This is a county with 7,000 people spread out over 2,200 square miles and a 10% unemployment rate. The nonprofit I worked with was trying to get funding for a new center. They were unsuccessful. At that time, there were 2 providers in the entire county, both of whom were family home care providers. I did a search for providers on the DCYF website this morning and found a single family home care provider within a 1,000-mile radius of Republic, the largest city in Ferry County. Unfortunately, this provider has closed her doors. Based on census data, there are 322 children under 5 years of age in Ferry County. The proposed code changes would give local jurisdictions, such as the Building and Fire Department of Ferry County, some additional tools to help their communities. I live in an urban area with reasonably good access to childcare. As the breadwinner for my family, I needed that access for my own child, as did my mother for her children. I understand that spaces for children need to be safe, and as an architect, I defer to the lived experience and expertise of our fire marshals and firefighters. That said, I believe that there are circumstances where additional flexibility would give small rural communities the ability to better serve their citizens. Thank you very much to all the members of the residential and fire tags for your work on this proposed code change.
Next on our list is Ken Brulette. Ken, you should be able to unmute now.
Thank you, Dustin. Hi, my name is Ken Brulette, and I'm representing the Seattle Fire Department and Seattle's Fire Marshal's Office. With regard to the new sections that are proposed, the new section 331.3, there's an option 1 and option 2. The Seattle Fire Department is only in favor of option 1. We do not support option 2. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken. At this time, that concludes our list of pre-received signups for testimony. If you are present and wish to present testimony, please utilize the raise your hand function, and staff will unmute you and call you in the order we receive those raised hands. Todd Short or T Short? T Short, you should be able to unmute. Go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'm a member of the fire service. I'm actually on the residential tag that processed through this early on. I represent, my department is the Redmond Fire Department, and I represent the Washington State Association of Fire Marshals. We are in support of the option that requires the fire sprinklers, and I wanted to provide you a little bit of justification as to why. Why does the fire service want fire sprinklers? Fire sprinkler systems are automatic and designed to provide additional time for occupants to evacuate safely. Only the sprinklers near the fire actuate to suppress the fire. They are proven to work in providing more time to escape. Fire statistics show that young kids and older adults experience more harm from fires than any other population group. This proposal is suggesting option 2 should be allowed, that would allow for the omission of the fire sprinklers, which we're not in favor of. Now, to get to 16, the increase to 16 does require an approval by the fire code official, but I think the State Building Code Council should go ahead and make this decision instead of pushing it to the local level. Without fire sprinklers, I'm sorry. So what we don't believe is there's any mitigations for the omission of fire sprinklers, even if the exiting is on the same level of exit discharge, or that there may be a door that's open right directly from the area. Those are really good things, but I'm concerned that the criteria of 2 minutes to evacuate is being evaluated during fire drills where there is no harm or no incident being involved. That doesn't duplicate what actually happens in a fire. Smoke and toxic gases are produced that often impact the occupant negatively. The evacuation environment is likely to be smoky, hot, stressful, and may require a low crawl to achieve the evacuation. It's suggested that 1 to 8 with kids of 2 years or older is a sufficient ratio. So with 16, you have 2 adults that may be the only people available to make sure that those 16 kids are allowed to evacuate. That means that each one of those adults has about 15 seconds per kid to make sure that they evacuate safely. Now, there may be fires that occur allowing the 2 minutes to be sufficient, but home fires are burning hotter and faster with evidence that is showing escape times and flashover are being reduced to just 2 to 4 minutes. Because this involves a vulnerable population, the TAG felt compelled to only approve the increase if the home has fire sprinklers. A similar action occurred with adult family homes requesting an increase from the 6 beds to 8 beds or residents. And when that was brought forward, it was only approved because the residential fire sprinklers were required for that 7th and 8th occupant. Remember, sprinklers buy time for evacuation. 16 kids involved in a fire should have the benefit of sprinklers. I am in favor of what the tags are promoting, and that is to require sprinklers for the increase. So only option 1. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's any others in the room who would wish to give testimony, please use the raise your hand function and we will allow you to unmute. Not seeing any hands in the room, we are going to pause this recording until we see the raise hand function, and then we'll begin recording once again to receive further testimony. We will pause the recording now. All right, we're back online. It's 10:48. Tyler Farmer has raised his hand, and you should be able to unmute now, Tyler.
Excellent. Hello. It looks like I'm unmuted. All right. Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. My name is Tyler Farmer. I am with the State Department of Children, Youth, and Families. My role is a strategic planning program manager, and I wanted to give testimony on this draft bill before the State Building Code Council. First of all, we're very happy that you are contemplating these changes in this way. It means a lot to our agency and also to the different programs that we serve and to the youth and families that we serve around the state. And I'm here to testify in support of specifically these changes, but specifically option number 2 concerning section 331.3. And that option is very important to us because for a number of reasons. In 2021, we began this sort of journey of creating ways that we can support providers and families around the state due to the scarcity of childcare. It's really at crisis levels around the state, and childcare is an absolutely critical part of our society. It helps families, communities, and local economies to a huge effect. So in 2021, when the state legislature passed the Fair Start for Kids Act, one of the things that they created was this waiver of the cap for family home providers. Historically, the cap has been at 12 for 50, 60 years, and now they limited that cap so long as DCYF and other entities can create sufficient safety measures and quality measures for these programs. And we believe we've really done that here with not only working with the State Building Code Council and the work group that we put together with representatives around the state of building code and fire officials, but also how we are updating our own childcare licensing rules. We are adding some fairly robust safety requirements when a waiver is in place. And we are limiting a waiver to only 16 children, which is simply an addition of 4 more children beyond the old cap. So this waiver means a lot to us. The State Building Code Council draft rule changes mean a lot to us because it's a way to really help these small businesses, specifically in smaller or rural communities, get a little breathing room while still helping families and their community stay safe. And I want to talk about the fire sprinklers. Certainly, I know often a topic is cost of these. We fully support them. We love fire sprinklers. We wish every program could have them. Unfortunately, they are expensive, and these are businesses that are very small with a very tight shoestring budget, where even an increase of $50, say, can cause a program to completely reanalyze and revamp their budget. So this was a way that we could sort of help providers and families, like I said, by tweaking our regulations while maintaining safety. And the option 2 that creates the very narrow exception to fire sprinklers, we think is a very critical component of these updates. Option 2 specifically still allows for very robust safety measures for the program. And that, in combination with our licensing requirements that we are also enhancing at the same time, we have those drafts in the materials here, still allow for very strong health and safety measures. Again, option number 2 is incredibly narrow exception to the broader exception of fire sprinklers. And we like fire sprinklers, like I said, but the problem with not allowing the exception is if you go with option 1, that is a safer option only on paper, because those programs will not actually be built and run in the real world, whereas we think programs operating option 2 will. And that's what we look at. We can write rules on paper that we feel good about, but if nobody's going to use them, then it's a futile exercise on our part. And we think that might unfortunately be the case if you go with option 1. And that kind of concludes my testimony. Option 2 strikes a good balance between safety for children, families, and staff, but also supporting family home childcare programs and serving families. So thank you so much for the opportunity. And that's it for my testimony.
Thank you, Tyler. Next up, we have Karen Christensen.
Thank you, Dustin. Thanks for having us here and the ability to speak. This is very important to us. I also, like Tyler, I work for the Department of Children, Youth, and Families. I work specifically in childcare licensing, and that has always been our first and primary concern, to keep the safety of children in care our biggest priority. We have worked extensively with this work group that Tyler mentioned for over a year, that has included folks from local fire and building agencies, and it's been very helpful. We have learned a lot. We have then come up with this draft language for building code and for our WAC that we think does strike a balance, again, like Tyler said, in safety of kids, and also just the ability to provide childcare, because we're finding in childcare that there are a lot of illegal, unlicensed childcare providers that have no safety requirements that we don't oversee, and it's scary. So what we're trying to do is to get those kids and other kids into safe places, and that's licensed childcare. We think option 2 is our best bet. Really, Tyler kind of nailed it. It is not even going to happen if it's option 1. We won't get any more kids into these family home childcares, and so it's a deal breaker for them. They can't do it. So option 2 allows us the opportunity to get some more kids into safe licensed care. We have worked really extensively with the work group to develop not just some additions to these building codes, but also to our own WAC. So we have added some safeguards, such as not being allowed to provide care to over 12 children if they are doing overnight care. It's just less, we think, we're not as able to watch that happen and make sure that it's safe for kids. We're increasing the emergency lighting, fire extinguishers, fire alarm systems. We're going to watch these providers do fire evacuation drills and time them. and they will need to be done within a specific amount of time. We're also going to require that providers have a document from their local jurisdiction that verifies that they do meet building and fire code. So I appreciate again the opportunity to speak. I know that we all want kids to be safe. We're not saying that that option 1 and option 2, either one of them is not safe for children. We believe that option 2 still is safe for children, and it is going to allow more kids to be in licensed safe care. So thank you. I appreciate the time, and thanks for having us.
Thank you, Karen. At this time, I see no more hands raised. If you are in the audience and you wish to give testimony, please use the raised hand function. It should be at the bottom of your Zoom control panel. Once you raise your hand, we will allow you to unmute in the order that we receive those raised hands. Seeing no further raised hands, we will pause this recording and resume once we receive a raised hand. Until that time, we will be pausing. Good afternoon. It's 11:57. This hearing is drawing to a conclusion. So this hearing is being held to consider testimony on the currently filed proposals for WAC 5151, International Residential Code for provisions for family home childcare, increasing from a maximum of 12 children to 16 children. All testimony presented at this hearing, along with all written comments received today, will be part of the official hearing record for this proposal. A final decision on adopting this rule proposal will be made on January 19th, 2024. On behalf of the SBCC, thank you for participating in this hearing. This hearing stands adjourned at 11:58 a.m. Thank you.